Module 6 already for our class. We just have a few more short weeks and then we're done with the class. So as you can see on your screen here, Module 6, we're going to continue our study and our review of renewable sources of energy. Specifically, we're going to focus on hydropower, solar, and wind. So the module intro and the overview just kind of gives just a brief overview of what we're going to be going over this week. If you go to the readings and resources page with the textbook, we're going to be looking at chapters 7, 8, and 9. So chapter 7, looking at hydropower. So what are some of the different ways that we can harness hydropower? Is it something that we can use in all places? How can we use this energy? Is it sustainable? Chapter 8 is going to look at wind and wind energy and looking at wind. How has wind become a major player in the energy mix of a lot of the countries here? And then chapter 9 is more on solar energy. And here we're going to look at what location is this a big role for solar power? And what are some of the environmental impacts in terms of looking at making the solar panels, looking for those those finite materials like silicon, and then the end of life disposal here. There's also some additional readings here looking at the energy flow chart, looking at energy transition, renewable energy explained, and renewables of 2020. Not too much due this week, so you'll be happy to know that. So your discussion this week here is you're going to read the energy transmission will need more rare earth elements. Can we secure them sustainably in the readings and resources section? After you read, consider the environmental impacts and then consider the environmental impacts of using these renewables if they would be net positive as we compare them with non-renewable fossil fuel. So in your post, you're going to include these prompts here. What are the environmental impacts that you were surprised to learn about from the readings? Are the environmental impacts that critics use to argue for or against, are they kind of overblown? Are they understated? And then what are some ways to mitigate for these environmental impacts? And then very similar to what you did last week in your response, you're just going to respond to your 2 classmates and state whether or not you agree or disagree with their posts. And then, of course, be respectful and explain your reasoning. And then all that's left to do is the quiz. So your initial post for your discussion about renewables and hidden environmental impact, your initial post is due on Thursday, your 2 follow-up responses by Sunday, and then complete the quiz by Sunday as well too. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to some great discussions and responses online this week.